What is up, you guys? Back for another video. In today's video, we are reacting to Not Wincy. Now, I would like to make an apologize because there have been a few times where I have reacted to Wincy, got interrupted. But there has been times where I've reacted where I thought I reacted to Wincy, and it was Mort. So I like to. There's a few videos where I was reacting to Mort and Not Wincy. So shout out to Mort. I actually never heard of you until we done reactions of you, but I just didn't know. I assumed it was Wincy. I typed in Wincy. Listen. I typed in Wincy videos, and I guess your videos just happened to pop up, and I accidentally reacted to it. So I have a whole playlist. If you are new, if you are not new, you know it's about to happen. You know it's about to go down. You know it's about to pop off. From the windows to the wall.
What's happening? 8 people? Whoa! What's up? Whoa! What's on my chat? What's on my chat? Who in the chat? Who in the chat?
Like I always say, the video was right here. That was a good one. Man, 5 true grocery store stories. They are stories that are true and animated. So we're going to see Mort. This is Mort. This is Not Wincy. Let's go. Yeah.
When I lived in the city, going to Target was a daily thing. One day I had to go find some pants
Target's
to wear
mid.
for a party.
So
I went to Target to see what they had, and if I could find anything I liked. I noticed this guy walked in behind me, and every time I turned around, he happened to be there. So I thought it was just a coincidence,
that could
since
mean
we would always end up on the same aisle.
I'm not gonna say nothing too far.
I walked over to the makeup to look for some new foundation, because mine was gone.
What is found?
And I just happened to turn around, and he was standing right there. So at that point, I knew something was up. He wasn't holding anything, just standing around trying not to make eye contact with me every time I would look at him. I walked to the checkout, because I wasn't feeling comfortable anymore. I had this gut feeling that if I stayed in the store, something would end up happening. He then followed me to the checkout line.
Scream!
Nothing was in his hands, so he had nothing to pay for.
Scream!
He just stood there looking around. He was acting like I couldn't see him,
dude,
or even feel him looking at me.
He's right behind you, and you just standing there. Scream for help. And I know, and I know that ladies and women that be in situations like this, they are very scared. I understand this because there have been reactions where you could take out of context and try to make it look like I was saying some other stuff. But you gotta understand, bro. I know when women are in these situations, I know that they're scared. I know that they are scared. They don't know what to do. But being scared and just sitting there shocked, because I understand shock can happen. Anyone can get scared. But you gotta be doing something. You could run, you could scream. There's other people in the store. Like, that's what I don't understand. Sitting there just shocked while something bad is happening, nothing's gonna get done, bro.
It was as if he was trying to stare into my soul.
See?
I paid and grabbed my stuff, but instead of walking out of the store, since I didn't want him to follow me out to my car, I instead walked over to the other end of the store to use the bathroom.
No!
He didn't follow me to begin with, but when I walked out of the bathroom, he was standing right there in the men's section, looking at underwear and socks.
Of women?
Again, not holding a single thing. So I decided to walk around the store some more, just to see if he would follow me again. And he did.
You are
understanding
too many
to the
shits,
side,
bro.
and whispered to him that an older man had been following me around the store the whole time I was there.
Thank you.
And that I've been walking around since I checked out, just trying to lose him. The manager told me that there had been prior kidnapping attempts related to sex trafficking, and something like this happened a couple of months ago. He told me that I was smart to stay in the store. He then called the police.
I guess.
And the guy left the store before they showed up. If you ever have a gut feeling, you should listen to it.
Dang.
Because that day could have ended a whole lot worse for me.
Okay, so that's low-key a real story. If y'all are not new around here, you know I hate fake stories. I don't like fake stories. So I always know when a story is fake or real. I'm going to say that this is a real story because nothing too crazy happened. This is just a true story that happened in the grocery store. Because people be on that weird stuff trying to, on women and stuff like that. So I'm going to just say this is a real story. She did the right thing, but if you really want to move tactical, because calling the cops ain't going to do nothing because, like they said, the cops showed up and the motherfucker was already gone. So, you gotta just, I would have just left, bro. Real talk. Alright. I like that story. Pretty short one. It's a good way to get our feet wet, Because I don't jump into things. I like to get, my feet in there, see if it's cold, hot.
A little background. Around November of 2019, I was running to a Target for some cupcake decorating supplies before meeting my aunt and cousin for lunch later that day at a relatively nice restaurant.
Okay.
With this being the case, I was slightly dressed up. Nothing too fancy, but I did look slightly older. It was around 10 in the morning, and I was walking to my car from the Target. I typically park pretty far back in parking lots, because I hate fighting for parking spots.
Because I hate fighting for parking spots.
Pulls into a parking spot a little ways in front of me,
Transformer?
And a man gets out. I freaked out as he started to walk up to me.
What?
He asked me if I was single, and then tells me that I'm the most beautiful woman he's ever seen.
Run away.
I tell him that I'm...
Any guys... Oh my gosh, bro, because that's just not how you approach women. Especially if you look like a crumb bucket. Because for any guy... God, for any dude that's not a 7+, you can't automatically call the woman beautiful. You want to know why? Because the woman that looks good is going to hear you call them cute and beautiful. They're going to get creeped out because you're ugly as fuck. Trust me, I know from experience from back in the day. So I know what the hell I'm talking about. And I hate when people be like, "Oh, no girls out of your league." You fucking idiot. Yes, there are, bro. And y'all need to start being more realistic with yourself. Stop living in this fantasy world. See how he just walked up on her and said that thing, bro? That's creepy. That's weird. You can only do that if you look good. And that's how, bro. I'm not gonna speak on that. But what I'm saying is facts. If you're anything lower than a 5 or 6, you can't get away with it. Look at me. I will never do that. If you want to talk to a girl, you actually have to make her feel comfortable first before you even remotely even think about doing that. I don't even recommend you doing that at all, honestly. I say talk to her and have a normal conversation with her, bro, because that's any game for any dude, bro.
I'm underage.
That's ugly as hell.
I have a boyfriend. I lied about that
That's
part.
simple, bro.
To which he replies that he would wait. This man had to be at least 40 years old.
Oh, good.
He then gets back into the truck and backs into a spot at the back of the parking lot. I was about halfway to my car at this point, but there was no way in hell I was going back to my car because I could tell that he was watching me.
Oh, hell
So
no.
I instead walk into a nearby frozen yogurt place.
Frozen yogurt.
I was visibly shaken.
Oh, man.
I quickly grabbed a cup of yogurt and tried my best to look natural because this guy was looking at me through the window.
You should tell somebody.
I called my best friend who lives in the neighborhood, close to the shopping center, and he quickly said that he would be there soon. About 10 to 12 minutes later,
yeah, I'm pretty sure
my friend came in soon, close to the shopping center, and he quickly said that he would be there soon.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
About 10 to 12 minutes
That's a good
later,
idea.
my friend came and picked me up from the yogurt place. When we pulled out of the parking lot,
Mr.
the
Jefferson?
man in the truck started to follow us. I texted my aunt to tell her that I would be about 30 minutes late for lunch.
My goodness. My mic is not working. Oh, are you kidding me? You fucking pussy. We're back. That took a little minute, but now the mic is on. Oh my fucking god. Fix my shit. Don't ever happen again, bro. That's the second time. I'ma calm down. People are upstairs. I have my mic now. It doesn't sound crummy. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
Tell her that I would be about 30 minutes late for lunch. My friend took a bunch of back roads in the area and drove through some confusing neighborhoods, and we eventually lost the truck. My friend is my absolute hero, and he took me back to my car in the parking lot. I was going to run some small errands before going to lunch, but that obviously didn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. That story, it seems more believable. That seems believable. You know what I mean? I have no opinion about that story.
This incident just occurred a few hours ago, and it's still making my head spin.
She pale as fuck.
Forgive me if it seems kind of lengthy, but an awful lot was said. I'm an 18-year-old female. My mother, sister, and I were shopping in our local Target. As we strolled around,
why is it always Target?
I recognized a girl named Stacy, who's also 18. I used to go to school with her.
Oh, I was about to say, how you know
For
that?
reference, I dropped out of high school in my senior year.
Why?
So I haven't been in my old high school or even seen anyone from there for about a year now.
Wow.
I simply glanced at her and kept moving.
You dropped out at
doubting
senior
that
year
she
for
even
what?
recognized me.
Bro,
A few minutes later, I'm on the complete opposite side of the store.
you went to
when I
school
see
for
this
12
girl
years
again.
just to drop out
Like
on the
last
12th
time,
year.
Our eyes awkwardly met, and I tried just to walk past her, but this time she actually said something. "Hey, didn't we play tennis together?" Stacy said with wide eyes and
Wow.
a painfully large smile. There was a girl standing next to her, but I didn't recognize her.
Ew.
I simply replied yes in response. I was never friends with this girl in school. In fact, I never talked to her or even liked her. That's when she introduced herself, as if I completely forgot who she was. She goes on to question if I still went to high school, to which I explained that I graduated a year early with online classes.
Which is cap.
The conversation started
Cat.
out normal. I thought we were simply catching up, due to the fact that I had been absent from school. I kept wanting to cut the conversation short, but Stacy kept prodding about what I was doing now.
Oh my gosh, bro.
if I
People
was in
like that
college.
make me so
And-
fucking angry. It's like, you see this conversation, you see me trying to end this conversation, and you proceed to keep babbling. People like that, bro. Oh my goodness. It's like you have no
What
social
was
cues.
college like? Harmless questions. Then, the conversation took an unexpected twist.
What?
Stacy somehow weaseled the conversation into one about God and Christianity. For reference, I do consider myself to be a Christian, but not one of those hardcore ones who are constantly spewing Bible quotes at strangers. She asked me if I attend church, to which I respond with yes, and her smile grew even bigger.
Why
Her
haven't
whole
you just
mantra
walked
about
away,
God
bro?
sounded something like this. Back in my high school days, I was always partying and having fun, but it was all fake, and no one knew I was actually pretty sad. That's when I found this church that showed me God's way and His undying love.
It's like, it's like, good for you. Praise God, I believe in God, but who gives a fuck about you? Because I'm gonna keep it a buck, y'all. If the person, this might sound fucked up, I don't give a fuck, you know? If the person don't add any sorts of value to my life at all, I don't give a fuck about you. So the fact that she's so happily spewing her life to a random person about God and Christianity, and I love it because, but I'm not gonna sit here and force my beliefs upon people because I don't really be caring like that. I don't care about you other people. Shout out to everybody who supports me. Shout out to everybody who's a part of me, made me laugh a few times. Those, I'm not talking about y'all type of people. I'm talking about the complete random people to my life that has no value. I don't care. I would have walked away, bro. I would have walked away from this conversation, bro.
He accepted
No.
me, and He'll accept you too.
It's like,
Now I'm
okay.
always happy, for I have God on my side.
It's like,
At
okay.
this church, God truly appears before your very eyes. He cured me of all my physical and mental ailments, like when I messed up my knee playing tennis. The whole time Stacy spoke, there was just a robotic tone about it,
What?
as if her words were memorized, practiced, and rehearsed. There was almost no genuine emotion in her, just wide eyes and her never-failing smile. Then her friend Ashley, who was in her late teens or early 20s, began her speech. Keep in mind, my mother and sister are just an aisle away, waiting on me.
I have
Ashley's
to go.
speech went something like this. For a while in life, I suffered with depression and suicide. I was always faking being happy until I found this church.
Let's talk about it. To the people who are just so comfortable spewing your personal business to people, how are you like how are you like real? You're talking to a random person you've never seen or even met before. You're talking about how you were suicidal and you wanted to do all that. Why do you feel that comfortable telling that information to a random? Like, what is wrong with you people? Is wrong with you people? Because I'm getting a little mad because this happens to me daily. Not daily, but this happens to me like almost every day. Why do y'all feel so comfortable telling so much personal information to a person that you don't know like that or don't even know at all? Why are you comfortable with that? There's something wrong with you. I'm not even joking. I'm not even like, that's weird, bro. And y'all need to, bro, I don't know, bro. Like, that's weird. Why do you feel so comfortable telling your personal information to random people or people you barely know, bro? Stay away from me.
This church truly opened my eyes.
It's
and
like,
my heart.
oh my, I
I
don't
no
want
longer
to.
feel dead inside.
It's like,
This
why do y'all
is when
feel
she
so
hinted that
comfortable?
maybe I felt dead inside too, and the only way to recover from it was to look to God. Ashley also used the word zombie to
Like, get up out
describe
my
this dead
face.
feeling. And that's when I began to really think that there was something wrong with these girls.
Yeah, now
Ashley
you want to know.
continued.
I found
I
that out
don't
the
think
first
it's
2
a mere
seconds.
coincidence that we ran into you. God led me to you. He wanted me to reveal to you the way.
Like, who
God
are
put a
you?
vision in my mind of you opening a present, and that present is our Lord and Savior. She kept on ranting about how this was
How
destiny,
long has the time
and
have
that
been
God put
since
Stacy
they've been
and Ashley
talking?
in my path to reveal Himself to me. When Ashley mentioned depression and suicide, I couldn't help but believe her for a slight second. I have been struggling with depression for years,
See?
but I've kept it quiet. And with me being a believer in God, I was almost fooled into thinking that this was a sign from God, telling me to finally open up and get help. But when
What?
Ashley began to ramble about her church, that foolish hope dissipated quickly. Then the two moved the conversation about their church. They kept stating that it was not just a normal church, and that God Himself, in flesh and blood, came to them at that church. They informed
that
me
ain't
that
God,
God
bro.
came to them to heal all their miseries and grief.
That's some.
Ashley then
That's
pulled
some-
out a business card,
Nigga, I'd have
which had the
slapped that
church's
shit out of her hand.
email, a Bible quote, and her personal phone number.
Dude.
Before the anticipated departure, they kept saying how cool I am, and that they were glad to have met me. Then we finally parted
Met
ways.
you already know
I
this
remember
person.
my legs being extremely weak as I walked away. That was
You
when
already
it clicked
know
in my
that person.
mind. Are they a part of some kind of cult?
No.
Their mannerisms and behavior seemed too scripted to be real. That's when my sister found me and answered my suspicions. Apparently, before I had to endure that 10-minute chat with Stacy and Ashley,
10 minutes?
my
Oh.
sister overheard the girls having the same conversation with someone else on the opposite side of the store. So this was all scripted, and it was their way of luring and persuading strangers to join their church. I realize now how they do it too. To reel me into their discussion, they talked about my absence from school and my experience in college. To reel in the other girl they talked with, they started off by
But don't you know
complimenting
the
her
girl?
outfit and inquiring about her artistic hobbies. I wonder how many people they ended up talking to. If
What?
they were just walking around the store hoping to find easy targets. I still have so many questions, and that's what bothers me the most about this. Being the somewhat religious person I am, their talk about God unnerved me. It's sort of humorous to think about it now, simply because I think crazy God lovers are comical, but I'm still bewildered. If you have any information about how cults operate and how they coax people into
I
joining
gotta go
them,
back.
if you have crazy, somewhat many questions, I wonder how many people they ended up and inquiring about her artistic hobby.
Yo, hold on,
They started
'cause-
off by complimenting her outfit to reel in the other girl they talked with, too. To reel me into their discussion, they talked about my absence from school and my experience in college. And it was
I'm
their
so
way
confused.
of luring and persuading strangers to join their church. I realize now how they do it too. To reel me into their discussion,
How they do it? Oh yeah. No, we're skipping. I don't like this story. Shit is so dumb. I don't like
being
this
the
story
somewhat
more.
religious person I am, humor.
I don't like this story because it's just like, dude, y'all went to school together. What do you mean? How did they do it?
and how they coax people into joining them, please let me know. Does this incident sound like cult members trying to spread their message? Or harmless teenage girls simply spreading their love of God?
It's not, bro.
If you have any other questions about what occurred in my interaction with them, please ask. It's also possible that I will see Stacy again, because she is attending my college next semester. Although Stacy and Ashley seemed harmless and just overly excited about God.
I know what threw me off, because she was making it seem like that's how they approach everybody, asking about, oh, how was school and how I haven't seen you in school.
I honestly just hope to never encounter them again.
That threw me off bad. Like, what? Is this the next story? Oh, now this is the next story.
Happened to my best friend around 2
Why do you sound like this, my boy? Why do you sound like this?
This happened to my best friend around 2 years ago.
This happened to my best friend 2 years ago. Like, boy, that's
Well, I'll call
nasty.
Sarah for privacy reasons.
Yeah,
We're
hit with
both
that.
studying in
He
the
hit him
same
with that.
city, only at different universities, so we're living in different parts of the city. One day, while Sarah was studying for her exams, she realized that there was no food in the fridge, so she decided to go out for a walk and do some grocery shopping. There
Okay.
was a fairly large and well-supplied supermarket close to her apartment complex, where she stopped by for some fruits, yogurt, and noodles. She spent around 15 minutes in the supermarket, only to be greeted by a complete stranger outside who started
Ew.
having a small talk with her. He acted like they knew each other, although Sarah is positive that she had never seen him before. Overall, my best friend is
That's
very
another
polite
thing, bro. Last rant, last pause. People always just talk to people like y'all know the person for 50 billion years. Why do people do that? You're like, they'll come up to you. I don't know if y'all ever y'all had to, bro, y'all ever been out in public and you just people just randomly come up to you and speak to you like they've been knowing you for years, or they know you? That makes me uncomfortable, and yes, I end conversations that even remotely sound like that. I walk away
person,
because
but
that's
also
too
very
much,
cautious of
too weird.
strangers. She described him as a short, overweight guy with a
Damn.
goatee and a wide, odd grin on his face. On the other hand, my best friend is tall, and she seems like a girl you would not mess with.
What?
She noticed that his fingers were somehow twitching while he spoke, indicating that he was nervous. The guy was at least 35 years old, and my best friend was 23 at the time.
Okay.
Immediately, she realized that something was wrong with this guy. First, he greeted her by saying he had spotted her in the area a few times, and then proceeded to ask her on a coffee date at a nearby cafe. Sarah was just standing there speechless, and politely declined him, saying
How
she
are you
wasn't
speechless?
interested.
Why can't you just say
It
no?
made him really mad, so he kept insisting that she go with him. When she
Nigga,
refused
no.
again, he angrily told her that they would see each other again soon, calling her by her real name. She was absolutely dumbfounded by this,
'Cause she
wondering
didn't know
how
her
on
name?
earth this creep had found out her real name.
Yep.
She had no clue who this guy was. He didn't seem like a university student at all, but rather a construction worker, judging by the clothes that he was wearing. A bunch of questions came to her mind. She was afraid that she may have been stalked by him, so she threatened to call the police if he didn't just give up on his advances and leave her alone. Obviously, my best friend wasn't in the least interested in this creep, but if you think her story ends here, then you're wrong.
I'm trying to figure it
Next
out,
thing
my
she
nigga.
did was part ways with him. He stood in the same spot for a moment, and then, as she said, hopped into his car and started following her for a few blocks down the street in a dark-colored car with tinted windows. When Sarah realized this, she got even more scared, so she had to take some lesser-known routes in order to get to her apartment complex safely. The sun was just starting to set at this point.
Her ass
After some
tripping.
shortcuts, she managed to arrive back safely before dark, but she was left feeling paranoid from the whole incident, wondering whether he knew where her
She got a
apartment
roommate?
was. She never reported the incident to the police, although she vividly remembered his facial features and overall appearance. Fortunately,
Yeah, some of
nothing ever
y'all
happened
men, bro, if
after
y'all get
this,
rejected,
and she's
bro,
not seen the
why
guy
get
since.
mad and get mad at her?
really hope it
Because she
stays
didn't
that
want
way.
you.
My
So
advice for
stupid.
everyone is to stay safe out there, because sadly, there are a lot of narcissistic people who just can't take no for an answer.
Narcissistic people. Narcissistic people.
So I just got back from the store, and
that's
I've
some
got
other
to
stuff.
tell you about this experience I just had.
That ain't narcissistic.
It may not be as scary as some of the other encounters, but it still gives me the chills. Let me start this story off by saying that this morning I wasn't in the best of moods.
What happens?
I had to work the graveyard shift last night, and I woke up after only 4 hours of sleep.
You work in the
with my
graveyard?
back absolutely killing me.
Oh, no.
I couldn't get back to sleep, so I decided to run a few errands since I was now wide awake.
Oh, hell no.
I needed to get a haircut while I was out as well. My sister works at a salon that is right next to a Target. So after I got my sister to mow my scalp, for free by the way, I popped over to Target to grab a couple of items before heading home.
Why is he talking like
So
this?
I'm just doing my thing and pushing my cart down the frozen food section, and I turned the corner to go into the next aisle. When I did, there was a middle-aged lady that was pushing her cart heading in the opposite direction.
What she got?
I
Shotgun?
nearly bumped into her, but then stopped before our carts collided.
Damn.
She gave me a mean look and then said in a really mean tone, "Excuse me." Now again, I have to
No.
say I wasn't in the best of moods.
Yeah, I would have
And
low-key.
I'm a short-tempered person as it is. So without thinking, I take a shot back at her and then said, "Oh, shut up. You're fine. Call me an ass if you want. No one's perfect."
What
But
kind
what
of
happened
response
next was
is
just
that?
pure insanity. The lady then suddenly left her cart and then started to follow me.
Hell no.
I noticed this about halfway down the aisle, and I then turned around to ask her what her problem was. And then, I kid you not, she rolled her eyes to the back of her head, pointed at me, and then screamed very loud.
Oh my fucking goodness. Are you serious? That ugly ass. Are you serious? Yes, that scared me. Because I was not
Kid you
expecting
not,
that.
She rolled her eyes to the back of her head, pointed at me, and then screamed very loudly.
That was some
And when I
weirdness,
say
bro.
screamed, I mean she was
It looked
literally
like she's giving. You know what she looks like she's giving right now. She's in a circular. That don't look right, bro.
shrieking at the top of her lungs. It was like something right out of The Exorcist.
I don't know what the hell.
I
that
hurried
is.
down the aisle to try and get away from this insane person,
You
but
asked
she
for
started running after me. Needless to say, all of the
just running like
bystanders
that?
immediately stopped what they were doing and then just stared at us.
You can't help.
The lady
You
kept
can't help the dude. Now, if this was a dude doing this to a girl, you know how fast they would have jumped in. Help the man.
screaming like a banshee at the top of her lungs while she chased me around the store.
All right, bro.
Well, I noped the hell out of there, ran out of the exit of the store, and I looked back into the store as I was heading for my car.
Bro,
The lady was standing just outside the now open automated sliding doors, just staring at me. While she stood there, her mouth was hanging wide open, and she
Nah.
was still just pointing at me. Her eyes were still rolled right into the back of her head, and all you could see were the white of her eyes. She suddenly turned around, then quickly walked back into the store.
that's not a real story. Sadly, I can't believe. No.
I decided to pick up my stuff at Walmart that was just down the street
No.
instead. All I could think, though, the entire drive home was, what the hell was that? That was insane.
Can't be real.
So, to the creepy, screaming, possibly possessed banshee lady, I mean, perhaps I shouldn't have been so rude to you, but you still have more than one screw loose in your noggin, and you really need help.
Let's talk about that story. That story was weird. First of all, I got scared because I just seen mouth just get open. I didn't want to see that. And the eyes roll in the back of the head. And I was already getting creeped out because the eyes went in the back. And they also are drawn weird to where like the veins are like hella red. So yeah, it creeped me out, you know? But that can't be a real story because there's no way in hell. Actually, there is a way in hell that nobody even tried to stop it, you know?
But you still have more than one
I
screw
don't believe
loose in your
it.
noggin,
It's a
and
good
you
story,
really need
but I
help.
don't think that's a real one.
But anyways, I definitely hope to never encounter you in the
Come
future.
on, dude. Nah, bro. Got your mouth open for that long, bro. Who
So
knows
when I
what's
was
gonna fly in
16
there?
years old, I got
Seriously.
my first job working at Target. Most of what I would do is just walk
Hey, Mort, thanks for clickbaiting me, you jackass. It says 5 Target stores. Why is there 6 and 7 of them?
around the store,
You clickbaited
tidying
me.
up and just stocking up shelves. Pretty easy job.
Pretty easy job.
One day I was stocking up food when a guy comes up to me to ask where a product was.
Ew.
I told him and I offered to show him where it was, so I walked him over and then started to leave. He was like, "Hey, wait!" And assuming he needed more
Cross-eyed
help,
fuck?
I went back over to him and then he immediately started grilling me with questions.
How old are you? What ethnicity are you?
Where do you live? Do you always work here? And then to my dismay,
If you answer any of
when
these,
do you get off work today? He had a really creepy and unsettling smile.
If you
and
answer
he was
any of
vaguely
these,
cross-eyed,
you are just
which in
dumb.
this weird situation just totally added to his creepy vibe.
ew.
I just told him that I didn't know when I would get off work and deflected most of his other questions and
You shouldn't
then
even
walked away.
ask. You shouldn't even
A
give that.
couple of days later, he
You
appeared
are
in the
just
store
so
yet
dumb.
again and found me. I was really scared when I saw him, and he asked me again when I get off work and what I was doing afterwards.
So, and you proceed to steal and talk to this stupid ass fuck. Go get a manager. Get him kicked out the store.
Again, I said I didn't know and started to walk away again. But then he started following me and then
I mean,
started
what you
telling me
expect,
that I was
bro?
so beautiful, just like his wife.
Ew, that makes it worse.
It was getting weird and I was getting really uncomfortable. So I tried to find a coworker and try to talk to him to get him away from me, or at least have someone else to witness his weirdness.
Dude, the cameras
I
are
couldn't
on.
find anyone, so I said that I had to go work at the cash register instead.
You shouldn't even said
That
that.
got him to go away, but not before he gave me the creepiest smile that I'd ever seen, and then said, "I'll see you after work." I was pretty creeped out at that point, and Casey stalked me home
Oh
after
my
work
gosh.
or waited in the parking lot for me.
You idiot.
I didn't want to tell my manager since, I had just started my job, and
You didn't. You didn't want to tell your manager because you just started this job. So you're telling me you will get.
didn't really want to make a big deal out of it. I
You
know.
didn't want to make a big deal out of it. He nearly almost kidnapped you. And you talking about you didn't want to, it's not a big deal. You didn't want to make it a big deal.
No. Pretty
Oh
stupid
my
decision,
goodness.
but luckily nothing happened after work. The guy stopped showing up, and I don't think I ever saw him again.
Who
after
knows?
that.
Who knows?
I guess he just wanted to scare me, but still, it was pretty creepy nonetheless.
He probably had something wrong with him. If we want to be honest, if that's a real story, which I kind of believe, if you know, if that was a real story, he probably had like something actually wrong with him. That's the only way I can see that being.
I'm a short, medium-sized girl.
Short,
One day around the time
medium-sized
that I
girl.
was 8 months pregnant, I decided to make a trip out to Target to buy some things.
Yeah, Target got the
I'm a
weirdest
very
stuff.
cautious person, constantly looking at my surroundings with mild paranoia, which was mostly inherited from my mom, who raised 3 kids all on her own, so she was always on guard. I got out of my new car, which I parked
So
a
she's
little far
pregnant?
from the store entrance for 2 reasons. I didn't want to get any dents from the other drivers, and I tried to get as much exercise as possible since I was pregnant.
Yeah, yep.
As I'm walking, I notice a huge red truck with 3 men inside of it with the windows down.
What the fuck?
I assumed that they were just waiting for someone inside the store, but something creeped up my neck when I then made eye contact with the driver. I quickly turned away and then immediately began to feel self-conscious. A small girl that was visibly pregnant, I suddenly felt so vulnerable.
What?
Up until that point, my pregnancy was pretty smooth and never really made me feel like a target.
What?
Once I finally got in the store, I started to calm down a bit more and feel a bit relaxed and went about my shopping. When I left the store though, I noticed that the same truck was still there. I put my bag in the trunk and got in my car as quickly as possible, then quickly turned it on and drove away. I noticed in my rearview mirror that the same truck was also taking off, with the same 3 men still inside
So
of it.
where's your husband?
My heart sank. I had realized right then and there that they weren't waiting for anyone inside the store. I got into the lane that can only make a left turn, and they were in a lane that can only go straight a few cars behind me. I thought, great, we're not going in the same direction. I was just being paranoid. As I passed the light, now turning, I see the red truck then switch the lane that I was in to turn left.
Yep, got your ass.
I then sped up to catch the next light turning yellow to put as much distance between them and me. I drove a little faster than usual, but that's when I realized that even if I made it home, they could still follow me there and I would be going home to an empty house.
So where's your
So
husband?
instead, I decided to drive past my street right
Call
to a
him.
shopping center that had a Starbucks. The drive-thru wraps around the building, so you're not going to be visible to the main road which I was driving in. I get into the drive-thru and I notice the red truck was going on the road that I just left. They drive past the Starbucks, and I think, good, I'm in the clear now.
3 dudes in
As
the
I'm
car
still in the
just...
drive-thru,
That is so
I
weird.
then see the truck pass by again in the opposite direction, almost as if they're looking for me. I wait in the drive-thru for all of the other cars to leave, and I decide to call my sister and tell her I'm heading to her place. I didn't want to
You
go
gonna bring
home
the crib
alone,
to the-
and my boyfriend wouldn't be home for several hours.
Oh.
As I'm driving to my sister's house, which is about 25 minutes away, my mind just begins to wonder if they had ever caught up to me or what could have happened if these men were following me.
Yeah, not your sister in
Any
there.
possible danger that could have happened to me or my baby made me so paranoid that I didn't even leave my house for the remainder of my pregnancy. By the time
Wait,
I got
what?
to that, I didn't even leave my... Any possible danger that could have happened to me or my baby made me so paranoid that I didn't even leave my house for the remainder of my pregnancy.
You didn't lick your house for the remainder of your
Me or
pregnancy?
my baby made me so paranoid that I didn't even leave my house for the remainder
You
of my
didn't lick your house for the remainder of your pregnancy because you got followed? And my subtitles, come on.
Could have happened to me or my baby made me
Lick?
so paranoid that I didn't even leave my house for the...
Leave. That's
Remainder-
cap. That nigga did not say leave, bro. He said lick, bro. And y'all know I'm not
That
tripping.
could have happened to me or my
Listen to
baby made me so paranoid that I didn't even leave my house for the
You
remainder
didn't lick
of
your
my
house.
pregnancy.
Yeah, okay.
By the time I got to my sister's, I was absolutely shaking over it. I had told my sister all of the details and everything that happened. I never did see the men again or their red truck, and I'd
Didn't
really
lick my
like to
house.
keep it that way.
I had a seasonal job at Target.
More, boy, you look like pork. What are you doing?
And I'd really like to keep it that way.
Mort, what the fuck was that, Mort? No, we're
Again,
finna...
or their red truck, and I'd really like to keep it that way.
Mort! No. No, how do we slow it down on here? How do we do it? Because... No. Is this how you slow it down?
I had a seasonal job at Target.
Keep it that way.
No, come on, Mort.
I had a seasonal
What was...
job
No,
at
we're
Target
finna find
last
out what
year.
that was, bro.
Every year.
Live reaction. We finna find out what the hell that was, bro. Mort, why are we doing this?
Target. is-
Mort, what is this? Why did you add that? No, you're weird, bro. Like, low key.
I had
Don't-
a seasonal
what are you
job at
adding
Target
that
last
for?
year. Every year they bring in new
Like, what
people
the
during
hell?
seasonal times to help
Y'all
with all
see
of the
that?
chaos of this pending season. It's pretty standard. Just about everyone was doing this. It just happened by chance that I was doing it at Target. I think it's
Yeah.
actually funny. I don't think I've ever actually been to Target until that job. But anyway, it was actually a night shift position. I would come in and start working at around 4 a.m.
Hell
And that
no.
was one of the crucial times to get stocked up on stuff for the big shopping rush that day.
Yeah.
Now, the way we did it, it was we would get a shipment off of a truck, and all the supplies would go into the back. We did
I
that
would say
as fast
obviously, but some people actually don't work
as
and they
possible
actually
so
don't
the
know
truck
what
driver
goes
could
into it,
get on
so
with
I
his
won't
next
say.
stop.
But yeah,
Those
that's
guys
how it
were
happens.
always in a rush. And once we got the stuff in the back, it was up to our team to get it all organized and stocked. And that was all fine and dandy, pretty standard procedure. Now, there was normally a good number of people who worked this shift with me, normally between 4 and 5 of us, with the manager somewhere else doing whatever else managers do.
Bro,
But
managers are actually
it
the
was
worst
situation.
things. Bro, like, bro, managers are actually the worst things. Like, almost ever. Like, you people are damn near the devil, bro. Like, some of you managers are absolutely fucking piss poor. You think you, like, hired someone because you a manager. Like, managers got to be, like, the worst things. No joke. They're literally the worst.
the layout of the store was
They
a
ain't
little
something
weird.
worse than a damn
We
manager.
had so much room in the warehouse area for all the supplies.
Shit
but
is ass, bro.
sometimes it would be too much, like drastically overflowing. And we had this other room to put some of the stuff we just couldn't fit anywhere else. It was a weird situation because that overflow room was not very big. I think it used to be someone's office. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened there, and I don't really care either. That was the job. It was a true nightmare to organize the stuff in that overflow room.
It was
I know,
a really
that's-
tight working space because it would normally be 2 people in there doing that, and the rest of the team would be outside. This room was kind of secluded as well. It was just kind of out of the way and didn't make sense to be a storage spot. Again, not my decision, just what I was told to do. It was one of these early mornings that I had to work in that overflow room with a guy I didn't know that well. He never said
He
very
looked like a
much, and he
bitch.
looked a little sketchy.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
actually seen him walk off the premises a few times after getting a text message. That was really weird. It was never for very long either. It was like he got a text message and went outside to take a smoke break or something. No one ever said anything though, so he just continued to do it. Honestly, none of us really cared that much. I didn't mention we came in at 4
You
in the
got a
morning,
whole
right?
tablet? The fuck?
Well, this one morning that we were working in the overflow room, something a little strange happened. He got a text message and went outside like usual.
Or was that a piece of
I
paper?
asked him where he was going, and he just said he'll be right back. He left before I could say anything else, but I noticed he dropped something as he went out.
What is
It fell on the floor, and I went over to pick it
a
up.
bag of marbles?
I could tell you exactly what it was, but it looked like a clear Ziploc bag of herbs.
Oh, that's meth.
Honestly, they probably weren't herbs at all, but being really tired and overworked, I assumed he was a gardener and he was carrying his
Nah,
herbs
he a
around.
drug dealer, buddy.
I know how stupid it sounds. I have a lot of friends that are really into gardening, and I guess I just assumed the best case scenario. When he came back, he seemed like he was in a rush.
Oh, you better put his
He
drugs
was
down.
looking around frantically. I told him he dropped his herbs. I pointed to them on a table in the room, and that was when he got really aggressive with
Oh
me.
my goodness.
He asked me if I thought it was funny. And
What?
that was when it dawned on me that he wasn't walking around with lavender in his pocket all day. It also dawned on me that he was probably selling while he was working this shift.
Yep.
That would explain why he would randomly go outside every once in a while. He
Yep.
threatened to kill me if I said anything to anyone.
You just dig it. You might sell drugs, but it is literally never that damn serious, bro. Never, bro. You would just threaten to kill somebody because they gonna say something?
Once in a while.
That is wild. That's okay, not even funny.
He threatened to kill me if I said anything to
I
anyone.
will kill you. Like, boy, if you don't get your
was
life,
honestly
I would
scared to death.
absolutely
I didn't know what to do.
drop him off.
Looking back, I probably should have told my manager and called the police right then.
Of course you didn't because you're dumb as
had
hell.
to deal with anyone that was a criminal or
Don't
anything
matter.
of that sort.
Don't matter.
Of course, I didn't say anything to anyone, but
Because you're
now, Every
trash.
time that I saw him, he gave me a weird look. We'll just call him David for anonymity's sake. And that wasn't his real name. But anyway.
When you walk
Over the
past
next
somebody,
2 or 3 weeks, I started to observe David a little more closely. I paid
you
a
better
lot
leave
more
that-
attention to what he was
Ew!
doing,
Oh, that
what
meth
he was
is beating
looking
his
at,
ass,
how he
bro.
was behaving. And after that time, I realized a few things about him. Firstly, he was definitely a drug user himself.
yeah.
I couldn't tell you what, but
Oh,
my
no,
guess
meth.
is
I'm
that it
telling
was
you.
something pretty hardcore.
Meth.
He would talk to himself
Meth.
like a crazy guy once in a while, and other times he would just completely zone out like he was in a different planet.
Bro, snitch on him,
The other
bro.
thing that I noticed about him was that he was very unstable.
Snitch on him.
Sometimes he would get really upset over very minor stuff. There was one time he screamed at the top of his lungs because his shoe was untied, and other ridiculous things like that. Now, while all of this was going on,
There's
I was
no
still
manager?
living my life. I still went for runs at the local park.
There's
and
no
made YouTube
manager,
videos in my
nothing?
free time, just for fun.
Like, there's nothing for you to
I tried to
do?
forget about the whole
Snitch
situation
on him?
with David. That was until I saw David at the park where I always ran. He was sitting on the bench staring at me dead on. I stopped mid-step. That was the scariest realization ever, because it meant that he was stalking me, and I didn't know what his intentions were.
He was how
I
you
didn't
know he was
how long
stalking
he'd been
you?
doing
Wait,
this,
how did...
stalking me. That was the scariest staring at me. I saw David at the park where I always ran. He was sitting on the bench staring at me dead on.
How is that stalking you?
I stopped mid-step. That was the scariest realization.
It must be something I just missed, but how is that... Then you run it past the park and you sitting at a park. How is that stalking you?
Because it meant that he was stalking me, and I
How?
didn't know what his intentions were.
I must have missed
I didn't know how
something.
long he'd been doing it or why. I just knew that I was in danger.
Now, that is true.
Running
You
and
are in
played it off
danger.
like I didn't notice him.
Yeah.
But oh boy, how could I not? Then there was one morning where it all went down. I showed up a little earlier than usual. I was always on early bird and I just hated being late. I was there about an hour before my shift started. Must have been about 3 or so. I was chilling in the parking lot listening to a podcast on my phone.
But
and
put
I
on
was
some
gonna notice
music.
someone pull up behind me.
Put on some
I
music.
parked kind of far away from the store to not take up parking
Music.
for the customers throughout the day. I just thought it was unusual for someone to park so close to me when
Fuck.
there were spots everywhere else. My heart sank. The person behind me turned on their brights, and that was when I knew it was David.
Oh my
My
goodness.
fight or flight kicked in. I turned my car off and sprinted to the store as fast as I possibly could. I knew
How?
the employee would be open and I would be able to get to safety there.
About to run you over?
David started driving after me, like trying to run me over.
Why are you in the
He probably would
streets?
have gotten to me too, but there was the spot where it was a line of trees in the parking lot. I
Oh, it
ran
was
to
in
the
the
other
parking
side
lot.
of the trees when I noticed that he was driving and he couldn't really do anything after that. I got inside and screamed that I needed help.
There you go.
Surprisingly enough, my manager was there. I explained the situation to her and we called the police. She locked the employee entrance and we waited until the police gave us the okay.
About time. Pulling out tablets.
Obviously, David had booked it. The cops couldn't find him either.
You just pull
He
up with a
wasn't at his
gun on
apartment.
scene. Just
Apparently, he
yeah.
gave the wrong address when he applied to work there.
Wow.
I guess they don't check the seasonal workers very thoroughly at Target. Hopefully they do now. And that was the story of how I almost got messed up working at Target last year.
You
and
almost got
if
messed
you're
up,
wondering, I don't plan on applying again
dude.
this year.
He just has a. He's just pointing a gun. Yeah, you had to chill out with that right there. But hope y'all enjoyed this reaction of Wednesday. This is gonna be like a 40 minute reaction. Mike literally cut out or just didn't work this whole like the beginning of the video. It's obviously fixed now. You know, feel what I'm saying? So hope y'all enjoyed, man. Hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. Tell me how y'all feel about these stories in the comments. And I'm out, bruh. Oh.